When a king starts bleeding, the vultures don't wait for the crown to fall. They start fighting over the body, and in Tulsa King Season 3 Episode 8, everyone's bleeding, you can feel it, the Empire's heartbeat slowing down. The walls that once echoed Dwight Manfredi's power are now whispering betrayal. Episode 8 doesn't open like a crime drama anymore. It opens like a eulogy. Every move Dwight makes feels heavier, like a man carrying the weight of a kingdom that's already halfway buried. The city that once bowed to him is now daring him to step outside. And the thing about Dwight? He doesn't take dares lightly. This is the part of the story where the king stops pretending he's got control. The alliances are done smiling. The money's gone quiet. The guns are talking again. The tension in Tulsa is sharp enough to cut skin. After Bevilqua's arrest and the Dunmere family implosion, the entire underworld is breathing like it knows something explosive is coming. The Renetti family's shadow is growing longer, sliding across every deal Dwight thought was locked down. You can almost see him realizing it, that no matter how hard he fights, the city's already choosing a new ruler. But Dwight isn't just another name in the dirt. He's built from that old school steel that doesn't bend until it breaks. And in Episode 8, that break feels close. He's still standing, but his grip's slipping. Bod's loyalty has started to sound more like fear than faith. Mitch looks like a man counting exits instead of opportunities. Even the quiet streets of Tulsa are louder now, the sirens, the whispers. The unspoken truth that Dwight's kingdom has become a battlefield with no borders. The feds aren't knocking anymore. They're kicking in doors. The Dunmere name, once powerful enough to silence anyone, now rings out like a warning siren. Everyone's playing defense, but Dwight's done playing. You can see it in his eyes, that cold acceptance that peace isn't coming. And survival means getting dirtier than he's ever been. Sheridan didn't name this episode for nothing. Every scene drips with that slow, burning aftermath. The one that hits after you realize the war isn't about land or money anymore. It's about pride. Dwight's not trying to win. He's trying to make sure nobody else does either. Every deal feels like bait, every handshake feels like a setup, and every ally's silence sounds like betrayal. The writing makes it clear there's no redemption arc here. There's only revenge written in smoke and blood, but the real terror? It's not in who dies next, it's in who finally breaks. Episode 8 builds its tension like a loaded gun with no safety. The Dunmere son's betrayal has set off a chain reaction that nobody can stop. The Renettis are making quiet moves while everyone's distracted by the noise. And Dwight, he's watching it all burn, calculating who deserves mercy and who's already dead to him. The chessboard's gone, the rules are gone, and all that's left is survival, and in that chaos, Sheridan's brilliance shows. Tulsa King has never been about good guys and bad guys, it's been about the cost of loyalty, the weight of legacy, and the way power always demands blood. Episode 8 isn't a rise, it's a reckoning. Every character's mask is slipping. The lies are collapsing. And somewhere in the smoke, the king of Tulsa is preparing for one last desperate move, not to win back his throne, but to make sure no one else survives sitting on it. Because when a king realizes his empire was built on betrayal, the only thing left to rule is the ruin. And Dwight Manfredi, he's ready to be the last man standing in a city that forgot who made it bleed. The smoke hasn't even cleared, and already, Tulsa feels different. You can sense it, that eerie stillness before everything collapses again. Dwight's enemies aren't just coming for him anymore. They're circling the very idea of what he built. Episode 8 turns every street corner into a trap, every phone call into a test. The walls are closing in, and Dwight's patience, that cool, collected calm that used to scare people more than his fists, is gone. What's left is raw instinct. The kind of instinct that doesn't negotiate. It eliminates. Word around the city says the Renettis are moving faster now, picking up what Dwight's crew is too distracted to guard. They're not declaring war. They're swallowing the map piece by piece. And the beauty, or the horror, of it is, Dwight knows it. He's watching the power he carved out of blood and bone get absorbed by people who never had to lift a finger. They didn't fight for Tulsa, they waited for him to bleed it out. And now they're cashing in on his downfall. But if they think Dwight's going quietly, they've never seen a lion in a corner. Because here's the thing about Dwight Manfredi, he's not afraid of losing. He's afraid of being forgotten. And in this episode, you can feel that fear transforming into something dangerous. The kind of dangerous that doesn't care about outcomes, just messages. His crew sees it too. Bod's avoiding eye contact, Cleo's double-checking every door. And Mitch is suddenly the only one speaking sense. But sense doesn't survive in war, and this is war in its final form. Meanwhile, the Dunmere family's chaos is turning public. The son's betrayal has spilled into headlines, and now the once feared family looks fractured. Desperate, exposed. The father's pride is turning into paranoia, and that's when he's most dangerous. Dwight knows that. He knows a wounded man lashes out, and in Tulsa, a wounded family can turn the city into a graveyard. Sheridan's storytelling here hits a different nerve. This isn't about business deals gone wrong. It's about bloodlines, revenge, and the way pride poisons everything it touches. The feds smell opportunity. Bevilquez's arrest was just the first domino, and now subpoenas are falling like rain. The higher-ups want Dwight's head on a spike. But what they don't realize is, every time they corner him, he just builds another way out. He's playing 3 games at once: the law, the streets, and his own conscience. And he's losing all of them. But the man's got that dangerous kind of self-awareness that makes him unpredictable. He knows he's drowning, and instead of reaching for help, he's pulling others under with him. Every minute of episode 8 pulses with that quiet madness. The calm before a man decides he has nothing left to lose. You can see it in Dwight's movements, in his silences. In that one look that tells you he's already planning his revenge. He's done talking. Done warning. The lines are drawn, and if there's one thing clear, it's that the next move won't be a defensive one. Sheridan's writing traps you in that tension, making you wonder if Dwight's still fighting for power or if he's just burning it all down so no one else can have it. Because sometimes the most terrifying kings aren't the ones who want the crown. They're the ones who want to bury it. Episode 8 takes that idea and drags it through the dirt, forcing every character to face what happens when loyalty stops meaning protection and starts meaning punishment. And by the time the credits roll, you realize something chilling. This isn't Dwight versus Tulsa anymore. It's Dwight versus the ghost of every decision he's ever made. The alliances, the betrayals, the codes, all of it's coming back for payment. The king's not just cornered. He's surrounded by his own past, and it's coming for blood. By the time episode 8 hits its midpoint, the pressure in Tulsa feels unbearable. Every character's walking like the ground beneath them might explode, and honestly, it might. The city's turned into a chessboard with pieces moving too fast to track. Except no one's playing by the rules anymore. Dwight's empire, once built on fear and respect, now runs on paranoia and betrayal. He can feel it. That creeping dread that comes when you start realizing the people standing beside you are the same ones sharpening knives behind your back. Sheridan builds this tension like a master mechanic. Every sound, every silence, every broken glance feels like a countdown. Dwight's losing ground on every front. The Dunmere mess has gone nuclear, turning allies into liabilities and enemies into wild cards. The Sun's rebellion has split their empire, and Dwight knows exactly what that means: weakness. And weakness in Tulsa isn't just noticed, it's hunted. The Renettis, slick and silent, are already 2 steps ahead, locking in deals with people who used to swear loyalty to the Manfredi name. Dwight doesn't need a spy to tell him it's happening. He can see it in their eyes, that flicker of fear mixed with opportunity. It's the same look he had when he first came to Tulsa, that hunger for power that never disappears, just changes hands. There's a brutal kind of poetry in it. The king who once built his throne out of other people's mistakes is now drowning in his own. You can see it in his choices: less strategy, more impulse. The man who used to think 5 moves ahead now barely thinks 1. He's not planning anymore. He's reacting. That calm, dangerous patience? Gone. In its place, there's a storm. A man too tired to rebuild and too proud to surrender. Sheridan captures that collapse perfectly, not with loud explosions, but with quiet destruction. Deals crumble in whispers. Trust dies in slow motion, and through all of it, Dwight's transformation feels terrifyingly real. He's not trying to reclaim power, he's trying to redefine what power even means. There's a moment where he looks around at what's left: his crew splintered, his name under investigation, his enemies multiplying like wildfire, and instead of breaking, he smiles. That same half-smirk that says, "You still think you can finish me?" It's that smile that makes Dwight dangerous again. Not because he's winning, but because he's realized he doesn't need to. If he can't rule Tulsa, he'll destroy it. Episode 8 also does something subtle. It flips the tone of victory. You start realizing that every move Dwight makes isn't about saving himself anymore. It's about leaving a mark so deep that even when he's gone, they'll still speak his name with fear. That's the old-school gangster code, the kind that doesn't end with survival but with legacy. He's done fighting to live. He's fighting to be remembered. And the moment a man like that stops caring about survival, everyone around him becomes expendable. Meanwhile, the law's not sleeping either. The feds are tightening the perimeter, circling Dwight's operations like vultures waiting for the body to drop. They don't just want him arrested, they want him erased. Every informant, every phone tap, every frozen account is a noose slowly tightening. But if there's one thing the government never learned about men like Dwight, it's that they don't die quietly. The more you corner them, the louder they explode. And episode 8 feels like that explosion's already ticking down to 0. The writing leans into that sense of inevitability. The kind where every character knows something catastrophic is coming, but no one can stop it. Bod's paranoia is eating him alive. Cleo's trying to cut a deal behind Dwight's back. Mitch is caught between loyalty and survival. And Dwight? He's too deep in the fire to walk away now. The king of Tulsa doesn't need saving. He needs witnesses. Witnesses to the downfall, witnesses to the chaos. Witnesses to the moment he proves that no one, not the feds, not the Renettis, not even betrayal itself, can write the ending of his story for him. And that's what makes episode 8 hit so hard. It's not just an episode. It's the unraveling of a man who refuses to die quietly. A story where the crown means nothing but the legend means everything. And when Dwight finally decides to make his move, you can feel it. This won't be about victory. It'll be about making sure everyone remembers exactly who burned Tulsa down. By now, every line between friend and foe has blurred into smoke. Tulsa isn't divided anymore, it's devouring itself. Dwight's not fighting rivals at this point. He's fighting ghosts. Ghosts of deals gone wrong, of promises he couldn't keep, of loyalty that turned into leverage. Episode 8 pushes him to a place we've never seen before, beyond strategy, beyond ego, into something colder. He's not thinking like a boss anymore. He's thinking like a soldier who knows the battle's already lost but refuses to walk off the field. And that's what makes him terrifying again. The fear's gone. The hesitation's dead. All that's left is intent. The streets feel cursed. You can sense that from how people move, to careful, to quiet. Like every shadow might be the last one they see. The Renettis are playing their long game flawlessly. They're not showing their hands because they don't have to. Everyone else is too busy tearing each other apart. Sheridan paints this chaos like an artist who loves destruction. Every character's desperation becomes its own kind of beauty. The Dunmere family's name is now poison. Their power's crumbling from the inside, and the city's vultures are picking at what's left. The son's betrayal, once a whisper, has become a public execution of reputation. You can feel the father's rage like heat in the air. And that rage is about to land on Dwight's doorstep. Meanwhile, Dwight's inner circle has turned into a minefield. Bod's lying by omission, Mitch is running damage control, and Cleo's doing what she does best, surviving. There's this scene-like tension where Dwight's sitting in the middle of it all, realizing that silence has become his only weapon. When no one can tell what he's planning, fear does the talking for him. And that's how Dwight takes back control, not by muscle but by mystery. Sheridan knows how to write those moments where power shifts without a single bullet fired. It's not about who shouts louder. It's about who watches longer. The feds are tightening their grip, and every legal string is pulling tight around Dwight's neck. But he's not playing defense anymore. He's leaning into it. That's the dangerous part. The man knows his empire's crumbling, and instead of rebuilding, he's rigging it to explode. He's setting traps that don't save him, they punish everyone trying to take what's his. You can almost hear it in his tone, that cold acceptance that if the game's over, he's taking the board with him. And the brilliance of episode 8 is how it makes you question if Dwight's still trying to survive, or if he's already planning his legacy through destruction. Then there's the Renetti play. The quiet storm everyone underestimated. While Dwight's bleeding and the Dunmeres are self-destructing, they're moving in silence, signing papers instead of pulling triggers. They're not after blood. They're after control. The kind that doesn't leave fingerprints, just signatures. And by the time anyone notices, it's too late. That's Sheridan's signature move, chaos up front, conquest in the shadows. And episode 8 is the moment those shadows become the real threat. Every glance, every phone call, every handshake feels heavier now. You can feel the city leaning toward collapse. Dwight's watching all this unfold with that same cold stare, part disbelief, part fury, part pride. Because even as everything burns, there's something satisfying about watching everyone else choke on the same ambition that once made him king. He knows what's coming. He can feel the war turning, the players shifting, the blood about to be spilled. But he's not scared. He's calm. That dangerous kind of calm that comes right before someone does something unforgettable. Episode 8 is no longer about who wins. It's about who's still standing when the smoke clears. Tulsa has become a graveyard for loyalty. And Dwight Manfredi's walking through it like a ghost with unfinished business. He's not running from his fall, he's walking straight into it, ready to turn the end into a message. Because when a king finally accepts that his kingdom's gone, the only thing left to protect is his legend. And that's what episode 8 is really about, not survival, not power, but immortality written in blood, fire, and fear. By the time episode 8 reaches its breaking point, it's no longer a story about crime, it's a story about consequence. Every action from Dwight's rise is echoing back like gunfire, and there's nowhere left to hide. The city's on edge, every player paranoid, every alliance cracked beyond repair. Sheridan doesn't ease you into this chaos. He drags you through it. You can almost feel Tulsa gasping for air, suffocating under the weight of its own corruption. And in the middle of it all stands Dwight Manfredi, bleeding, cornered, and somehow still dangerous. He's the kind of man who, even when you strip away his power, still knows how to pull the trigger. Episode 8 feels like that slow-motion moment before a bomb goes off. Dwight's plan isn't clear, but that's what makes it terrifying. You don't know if he's trying to reclaim what's his or just blow it all up. The Renettas have practically taken over, sliding into every gap his downfall created. And the Dune Mears are too busy burning their own name to realize the city's already changed hands. The feds think they're running the show, but Sheridan makes sure you see the bigger picture. Everyone's being played. And Dwight's still somewhere in the middle, pulling one last string no one can see. There's a quiet scene, or maybe just a feeling, where you realize Dwight's not chasing victory anymore. He's orchestrating chaos. Every betrayal that broke him, every ally that left him, it's all fuel. He's not aiming for redemption. He's aiming for remembrance. The man doesn't want to win the throne back. He wants to make sure whoever sits on it next never feels safe. That's the heart of Tulsa King. Power doesn't disappear, it haunts. And in episode 8, Dwight becomes the ghost everyone's afraid to acknowledge. Bod's unraveling fast. His nerves are shot, his loyalty fading by the minute. Mitch is torn between conscience and survival, watching the Empire crumble in slow motion. Cleo's already halfway gone, her silence louder than any goodbye. The Dune Mears, finished. Their empire's now just another cautionary tale in a city that feeds on downfall. And yet, even with everything stripped away, Dwight's still commanding the screen. There's a reason they call him king, not because he rules, but because he refuses to kneel. As the episode builds toward its final act, you can feel Sheridan tightening the screws. Every character's fate feels inevitable. You know someone's going to fall, maybe more than one, but you can't tell who or how. That's the magic and the menace of this story. It's not about predicting the end. It's about feeling it crawl closer, second by second. Tulsa's skyline might still stand, but beneath it, the foundations are cracking. Deals are done. Masks are gone. And what's left is pure survival, primal, personal, unforgiving. Dwight's last words in the episode hit like a curse. They're not loud, not cinematic, but they carry that weight only a man with nothing left can wield. It's not a promise of war. It's a warning of extinction. Because now, everyone who came for his crown realizes something too late. Dwight Manfredi doesn't need to win to destroy you. All he has to do is fall the right way. Sheridan leaves us hanging there in that brutal silence after the storm, where you're not sure who's dead, who's in control, or if there's even a city left worth ruling. Episode 8 doesn't give closure, it gives aftershock. The kind that rattles every character and every fan who thought they could predict where this story was headed. Nothing is over. Not the blood, not the betrayals, not the war Dwight started the moment he walked into Tulsa. Because when a king loses his crown, he doesn't disappear. He becomes the legend that ruins every king who follows. And that's exactly where Tulsa King is headed next. Into the part of the story where survival isn't victory. It's punishment, and just when you think it's all said and done, Sheridan flips the board again. The final minutes of episode 8 don't play like an ending, they feel like an ignition. Dwight's gone off the radar, the Renettas are celebrating too early. And the city's got that eerie calm that always comes before something catastrophic. The news reports talk about peace, but the streets know better. Tulsa doesn't do peace. Not with that much unfinished business buried under its concrete. You can sense it, Dwight's silence isn't surrender. It's strategy. The kind of quiet that means he's watching, waiting, and planning something that'll make everyone wish they'd finished the job when they had the chance. There's this haunting energy in the air, a mix of fear and respect. The feds can't find Dwight. His people won't talk. And every corner of the city whispers a different rumor. Some say he fled to New York, others swear he's hiding in plain sight, rebuilding his power one move at a time. But those who really know Dwight Manfredi, they know he doesn't run. He reloads. Sheridan paints him like a ghost haunting his own legacy, a man stripped of everything, except that relentless will to make things right his way. You get the sense he's about to become something even more dangerous than a king. A legend with nothing left to lose. Meanwhile, the Renettas start feeling that invisible pressure. Their shipments go missing. Their men disappear. And those who talk about Dwight out loud start turning up silent. It's poetic, the way Sheridan lets revenge breathe, slow and methodical. Dwight doesn't strike fast anymore. He lets fear do the work first. Because power isn't about bullets, it's about the pause before one. And by the end of episode 8, the whole city's holding its breath, waiting for the sound. Then comes the twist, subtle but lethal. A coded message, sent through an old contact, lands in Bod's hands. It's short, almost cryptic, but it changes everything. The king ain't dead. He's just cleaning house. That line alone flips the tone of the entire episode. Suddenly, everything you thought was over starts to feel like the beginning of something darker, smarter, and way more personal. Bod breaks down reading it, not from guilt, but from realization. He's been playing on the wrong side of history. Sheridan closes it out the only way he knows how, with silence that feels louder than gunfire. No explosions, no big shootouts. Just the weight of what's coming. Dwight's not just after revenge. He's reshaping the entire game. Episode 8 ends like a loaded promise, the kind that tells you Season 3 isn't closing with peace. It's setting the stage for an uprising. Because when a king loses his throne, he doesn't fade away. He learns how to rule from the shadows. And that's where Tulsa King hits its peak. In the realization that this story isn't about who's on top anymore. It's about who survives the longest in the dark. And if there's one thing Dwight Monfreddy's proven, it's that you can take the crown from his head. But you'll never take the power out of his hands. The king of Tulsa isn't gone. He's just waiting for the perfect time to remind everyone why they feared him in the first place.